The financial year 2025 reporting season has already begun. This means that Group 1 companies that have been toiling away, preparing for their first climate disclosures in alignment with AIS BS2, are now able to showcase the efforts of their hard work. And there has been a lot of work done. Whilst all the disclosures caveat that these companies will comply from FY26, we can still learn a few things from what some of the biggest companies in Australia are telling us. Let's start with what's working well. Both governance and metrics and targets have clearly improved from TCFD reporting. Taking a more detailed look at governance, the larger businesses have now set up their committees to facilitate the work and opine on what matters for the purposes of disclosure. Most businesses can point to at least one person accountable for climate. Whether that person is the most appropriate may still be up for debate. Some businesses have embedded climate in executive remuneration, which aligns with how other risks are managed. Looking through executive remuneration reports can also provide useful insight into how clearly understood or serious the company is about delivering their climate strategy. Something to be wary of is the number of committees and people presiding over either the work or the disclosures. It's great to have more of the leadership engaged and involved, but the skills and capabilities need to be adequate to effectively contribute to moving the work forward in the right direction. Looking at metrics and targets. Because these large companies have been reporting against Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions for some time, it hasn't taken much to extend the transparency and auditability of these disclosures. The additional transparency in the reports is helpful, and smaller companies should be paying attention. As we move through the next few years, it will be consistency and transparency that underpins the credibility and quality of Scope 3 disclosures. The metrics and targets outcomes across the board would be described as good, simply because there has been a lot of work going into this disclosure and there has been an improvement in transparency. Unfortunately, the devil is in the details within each report. The establishment of a target on its own, without a credible transition plan to support delivery of the target, would usually mean the company is making forward-looking statements without a lot of evidence to substantiate how the targets are to be achieved. What's reassuring is that transition plans are being prioritized to be completed this year. So we may see some revisions to targets once the transition plans are completed. Moving on to where things could be improved. That is both in the risk management section and the strategy sections of these reports, particularly with the use of climate scenario analysis. Looking more closely at risk management, the risk management sections of these reports are a lot more hit and miss than the governance and metrics and targets sections. Some companies have done an amazing job at providing thoughtful and considered descriptions of the risks, mitigating actions and outcome from their scenario analysis. Shout out to Coles Group and Woolworths Group. But other large companies are only providing a generic definition of physical and transition risk as the extent of their disclosures. It means that something in the risk assessment process either hasn't been done or it's broken. In our experience, there could be several reasons for this, but two culprits often involved are 1. Not enough time to do the work and engage with the stakeholders internally, and 2. An external provider was used where the outputs provided ultimately missed the mark. Moving on to strategy. The strategy sections across the reporting spectrum contain some of the context for why the business, its business model, and all the component parts in the value chain is going to be resilient to the different climate elements. 3 things stand out in the strategy sections. 1. Companies don't want to be too explicit in the climate space as the opportunities are still developing. 2. Identifying opportunities and delivering opportunities are 2 entirely different things. And 3. The scenario analysis process is still working its way into the strategy setting process. Scenario analysis underpinning strategy is an area that is expected to improve over time. What's been surprising is how poorly the sectors that are renowned for stress testing and scenario analysis have been with their disclosures, and how strong the qualitative scenario analysis has been for sectors that are still developing these techniques. In a couple of cases, information provided in disclosures for scenario analysis was clearly unusable for strategic purposes and would have been better placed on the cutting room floor. So, what can we learn from the climate disclosures to date? As more companies produce their results ahead of the FY26 disclosure deadline, we're expecting to see a lot more of these themes play through. The parts that will be most difficult for companies to disclose well are still expected to be across the risk management, strategy, and scenario analysis sections. For large or smaller companies looking to do this well, there are a few steps that can be taken to improve implementation within your business, and the inevitable reporting that will address the requirements of IISBS 2. These steps include: 1. Develop a consistent understanding of what climate is across your business. What are the terms? What does it mean? This may mean going beyond attending a climate conference for your sustainability person, or sending board members along to a virtual seminar. Education and awareness are key. 2. Define the risks of climate change and their impacts on the business. The better this is done, the easier it is to prioritize in or out. 3. Investigate your supply chains. As with Scope 3 emissions, so much success of modern business is built on the adaptability and resilience of the supply chain. Engage with the supply chains to understand what worries them, as it helps your business build the warning indicators needed to improve your business resilience. 4. Set up a scenario analysis program. This program should be staged in a way that allows for enough time to integrate into business planning and consideration amongst other strategic drivers. Be wary of outsourcing the work to third parties. Not all scenarios are created equal and will help you meet your business and strategic objectives. 5. Finalize the transition plans and make sure they're credible. These plans underpin the forward-looking statements that will be provided to the market. Investing here is as much about protecting your business from greenwashing as it is to genuinely achieving the targets you set for yourself. If you're thinking about improving your company's climate disclosures or just want to get things started, feel free to get in touch with YT Advisory. If we can't help you directly, chances are we know someone that can.